In this video, I want to go through a few ways to master real estate photography. I also want to show you some of the disadvantages of real estate photography, as well as what I call the prepping process, which is essentially what I do to prepare for a house to be photographed, or creating a Zillow 3D floor plan, or even creating a 2D floor plan. If you have any questions or any tips or tricks that you want to share, please leave them in the comments below, and let's get into the video. We already have our camera set up. Like I said, this home wants 15 photos and a floor plan, so I'm going to go ahead and get started on that, and I will come back to you guys when it's time for the photos. When you're creating a floor plan for a home, you can literally use an iPad, an iPhone. You're using your laser measuring tool to measure out the house for you, to tell you exactly what coordinates to put into your app. Using the iPad is a lot easier just to make sure everything is sized right, but I use my phone only because it's super quick. I always have this, I always have it charged. It's something that I don't have to think twice about. Literally all you're doing is telling it what room it is, what size it is, what specific room it is, and all that. And you just go through the house and do just like that. It's not something that someone can just pick up an iPad and start creating a floor plan. It definitely takes a learning curve to get over. And I still am not perfect with it. I'm a photographer, so I didn't start out, or I wasn't trained in creating floor plans, but it's something I can learn on the go. I'm a quick learner. Okay, so I have just finished with the floor plan of the lower part. I'm about to go upstairs. I just wanted to show you guys where I'm getting all the rooms, the bathrooms, the kitchen, the pantry, things like that. So now I'm about to press floor 2 to go to the next floor. And I'm starting blank again because the floor plan at the top level is different than the floor plan at the bottom level. But as you can see, that's how the house would look if you look at it from the top looking down, or from a plane to the ground. Capturing the exterior photo of a home is what you would typically think of when you think of real estate photography. Exterior photo of a home is what really sells a buyer on the potential home. Over the years of doing real estate photography, I've mastered a few different tips to make sure that you get the perfect exterior shot every single time. So as you see with this house and the next house that's coming up, I like to make sure that I line up with the front door. This entails that you are getting the most of the house as well as the property that's around it. Now, if houses are closest together, this may be a little problem, but when you have houses like this with land, it's way easier to get that property. There are some downsides to doing real estate photography, as in showing up to a property all ready to take photographs like I did on this day, and then not being able to access the home. All you can do when this happens is attempt to reach out to the property manager. You see me looking for on-site lockboxes. There was none, so all I could do was take an exterior photo of the home and head on to the next one. So as you can see, this is where they typically put the keys, but you can tell this is where they typically put the keys, but you can tell that it has been broken, and there are tons of signs on the door. So that's already not a good sign, because you want to be able to get into the house, and that doesn't look too promising. You know, Atlanta has a lot of these things called squatters. So there could be somebody in the house. So I like to be cautious of that. And if there is a case where I don't feel comfortable going in, I can let them know that I don't feel safe going in the house. And this is one of those, because the doors, let me show you. There's another box here, but all of the doors and the handles are broken off. And let me show you guys one more thing. When I came up, I immediately noticed that there were curtains in the window. So if this was a house that was empty, there wouldn't be curtains in it, for one. And with all the handles being missing and the front looking like that, I'm gonna assume that the house isn't empty, and I'm gonna put unsafe neighborhood. And then I'm gonna go ahead and leave. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut off my Ricoh camera, get everything back in the car, and head on to my next house. They do still pay us when situations like this happen, so I don't have to worry about not getting paid. I just let them know that I can't go in that house, that I don't feel safe. We are at a new house, and this home wants a Zillow 3D home tour as well as some photos. So I want to take you through how I have the home prepped. This specific home, I've already done the Zillow home tour, so I went ahead and closed all of the closets to prepare me to take the photos. But as you see, I have all of the lights on in the house. All of the toilet seats are closed. This home had the toilet seats wrapped up because it was winterized. But as you can see in each room, the closets are open. In the master bedroom, I like to keep the closets open just because once I do get that second shot in the master bedroom, they can see the closet and the bathroom in the same shot. But I do make sure that all closets are open and things that need to be photographed are ready to go. In the next clip, I'm going to show you what it looks like on the Zillow 3D home tour before I get ready to send it off to production to stitch it all together. You can literally see that the camera captures a complete 360 of the home. And so this happens in every single room. So this is why it's imperative for me to move the camera and then get out of the way before I start to take the photo so that I'm not in it. What's really important about doing a Zillow 3D home tour is that when you're moving the camera, you want it to be as if it's a natural flow so that when the person who is viewing the home from the other end, they can move the camera as if they were viewing it as they were walking through the home themselves. So as you see in this clip, I set up the camera where it's going to be photographed, and then I'm moving out of the way so I'm not in the shot. And then here is another example of what it looks like on my iPad. And then I'm again moving the camera to the next spot so that the person who is viewing the home, as if they were looking at it in person, they can turn it 360 degrees to see the home from a different angle. One of the first things I recommend everyone do when they're starting their real estate photography journey is get in their head their complete prepping process. So for me, I like to enter into the home and do a complete walkthrough. So this is going to be one of those type of examples. Once you enter into the home, you want to make sure that from the beginning to the end, the home is ready to be photographed. So I turn on all of the lights. I make sure that all of the windows are open and prepared to be photographed. This home, as you can see a little bit down the hallway, I was not able to open up those blinds because some homes are different and some homes have different aspects that you have to work around, like a ceiling fan that can't be turned off or things like that. So you have to be able to adapt in any situation. So I also like to make sure that homes where areas that I'm not going to photograph, I don't even turn on the lights or bother to go in that direction unless the photograph is going to have that area in it. Then I'll make sure I turn on those lights. Another thing that I like to make sure is as I'm walking through, I'm also pre-planning where I'm going to photograph and even what would be the best angle for the home so that you can see the maximum amount in each room. I also like to make sure that all toilet seats are completely closed and that the closets in each room are completely closed before I start taking pictures. Now, this is a completely different process. If I'm going to do a Zillow home tour, I like to make sure that the closets are open, and then I go back and close them once I'm done with the actual Zillow tour in that room so that I can make sure that I'm ready to start taking pictures as soon as the Zillow home tour is complete. Each home is completely different, and each situation that you're going to be in is also completely different. So that's why I recommend when you're going into these homes to photograph, having a set way that you like to move through your homes. Me personally, I like to make sure that once I get in the home, if I'm doing a Zillow home tour and photos, is that I have my camera set up before I start the process so that I can go through, and as I'm coming up the stairs, I can be getting the Zillow home tour. Mind you, I do have to step out of the way of the camera in each shot, but I can also multitask and get photos of those rooms as that's happening. I personally like to make sure that I get a head-on shot like this one when I'm going into rooms that are bigger. I also like to get a second angle of a room. This again will help the viewers see the home from multiple different angles in photos versus a Zillow home tour. Again, each home is different, so some homes the closet is not in the bathroom like this one, so you may not need to make sure that light is on. Some homes things are different. As you can see, I turn on these lights that are in the bathroom because I'm going to photograph from the direction that I'm looking into the bathroom, so I want to make sure that that's able to be seen. And again, some of these things are personal choices, so it's best to make sure that you set the home up for how you like to photograph. I personally don't photograph laundry rooms and things like that, so I don't worry about that room. And then when I'm going into rooms like bathrooms or the kitchen, I personally raise my camera up above the sink. That way, the photograph doesn't look as if it's coming from a child's perspective, and this helps give a lot more angle and depth to a room. Real estate photography is very repetitive, so imagine if you have 5 homes in one day, you have to do this same process as each home. And that's why I recommend that it's imperative that you gain a way that you like to photograph a home. Once you gain access, you go through and do your prepping process according to your liking so that it can make the day go smoother. There is a way to get through a home in about 30 to 40 minutes, but you do have to make sure that you are very analytical about your time. Depending on how many homes you may have in one day, it may be imperative that you get homes done quicker. At the end of the video, I'm going to show you a few of my images that I put in my real estate photography portfolio. And this is what it's all about, making sure that you go through the home and build your style of photography. That way, when a potential client sees your book, they know that you know exactly what you're doing and you're able to showcase and do the home exactly how they need it to be done to sell the home. That's the whole purpose of real estate photography. Check back soon and check out my other videos for more tips and tricks.